Not every super in Brawl Stars is about raw damage. Some supers might barely scratch the enemy's health bar, but they can completely change the outcome of a match. Today, I'm breaking down some of the most valuable supers in the game: utility, control, and raw impact, and showing why they matter just as much, if not more, than straight up damage. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to Tomix. All the gameplay is his, so make sure to subscribe to his channel. The link is in the description. So let's start with utility supers, abilities that don't rely on damage but provide insane game-changing value. Jean's pull is the perfect example. On paper, it's not about damage. It's about removing a key enemy from the fight. Whether it's yanking the enemy's gem carrier or pulling a healer out of position, one successful pull usually equals a guaranteed kill, and that can swing an entire match. Sandy's Sandstorm is another utility powerhouse. It doesn't hurt enemies at all, but it lets your team move unseen. In modes like Gem Grab or Brawl Ball, invisibility creates pressure the enemy can't deal with. They're forced to guess where you are, and that uncertainty alone gives your team a massive advantage. Utility supers like these prove that value isn't always about damage numbers. Sometimes it's about breaking the flow of the match itself. Then we've got control supers, the ones that shape the battlefield and force your opponent to play on your terms. Spike super might look simple, a big slowing patch of spikes, but it's brutal in practice. It cuts off enemy movement, denies areas like hot zone pads, and makes pushing objectives nearly impossible. Even if you don't score kills with it, you're creating space your team can take advantage of. Frank super works in a different way, a massive stun. It's risky to use because of his slow windup, but if it connects, it can change the game instantly. Stunning multiple enemies means your team basically gets a free fight win. And in Brawl Ball, that's often an instant goal. Control supers are about dictating space and tempo. They may not secure kills as reliably as utility, but they force enemies into bad positions and punish them for standing still. Finally, we've got the raw impact supers, the flashy momentum shifting plays. Edgar's jump lets him dive directly into backliners. Sure, it can backfire if you mistime it, but when it works, it forces chaos on the enemy team and creates opportunities your teammates can capitalize on. Stu's super is another. Every dash gives him more mobility and keeps pressure on the enemy. It might not deal tons of damage by itself, but the sheer unpredictability makes Stu feel unkillable in the right hands. And then there's Janet's Flight. It's one of the most unique supers in the game. Total freedom to reposition, escape, or rain down damage from the air. It's not always about killing enemies outright, but the pressure it applies can dismantle a defensive setup. These supers thrive on swing potential. One good use can flip a fight instantly, especially when momentum is already in your favor. So what makes a super valuable in Brawl Stars? It isn't just damage. It can be utility that breaks the enemy's setup, control that forces them into bad positions, or raw impact that snowballs momentum into a win. At the end of the day, every super has a place, from Sandy's invisibility to Frank's stun to Janet's flight. And depending on the mode and team comp, any of these can feel like the best in the game. But if I had to pick just one super that consistently feels like it changes everything, Jean's pull. It's not flashy, it's not high damage, but it's one of the most reliable ways to decide a fight in your favor. What about you? Which super do you think is the most valuable right now? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And hey, this is just the beginning. I'll be posting more breakdowns like this every week. So if you enjoyed this one and want to keep leveling up your Brawl Stars game with me, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next match.